22nd through the 28th. And this is a time to celebrate pollinators and spread the word about what you could do to protect them. We're going to learn all about pollinators here in just a little bit, because we're actually going to go to a pollinator garden. I'm really excited. We are going to have the USDA Forest Service with us, and they're going to take us out into the people's garden, and we're going to learn all about pollinators. But until we get there, let's talk about mission conservation. So mission conservation is a online learning opportunity for kids. Right now, a lot of you are still inside and you don't have a lot of things to get outside and get active, and that's so important. You know, we're worried about our kids. We're making sure that they have great quality learning at home. But through mission conservation, we're bringing that learning at home in a way that kids can get up and they can get moving. So getting quality education and really promoting that getting outdoors as part of technology, because kids love technology. This online educational learning program is amazing. And I am going to invite Mary to tell us more about Agents of Discovery.
Well, thank you very much, Misty. And we are so delighted to be partnering with Mission Conservation to help make conservation education fun and exciting and active. This platform enables you to really deliver these missions kind of like Pokemon Go, only all about education, so that the kids can really take a break from their regular learning and do something that's fun and engaging and active. And as you said, that they can take out of doors. So it's learning at home, but it's learning at home outdoors and in an active way. I mean, what better way to learn about conservation than to do it outside?
That's so true, Barry. And, you know, as a parent, we're concerned about the amount of screen time our kids have. The cool thing about using this application and Agents of Discovery is I can have them have screen time, but we can be outdoors, we can gaining learning, and we can learn about what's going on in the natural environment. I think that's so important for this mission conservation. We're so excited to be partnering with you. So let me tell you more. This week, as I said, is Pollinator Week. So we are going to be doing a Pollination Nation mission. And what you're going to do, it's really easy to get involved with mission conservation. So the first thing you do is you need to download the app. So you're going to go and you're going to download Agents of Discovery app onto your cell phone or your iPad. And then you're going to open the weekly mission. You're going to look for mission conservation. This week, it's Pollination Nation. And then from there, you're going to print these image triggers. I highly recommend that you print them, and here's why. By printing them, you can make it a scavenger hunt, like a treasure hunt outdoors. So you can hide them all around the backyard or courtyard, or if you can't get outdoors and the weather's bad, then you can hide them around the house, and you can actually let the kids hide them for each other. So just make it fun, make it exciting. The other thing is, you can use these every single week. So today we're talking about the Pollinator mission, but guess what? We have many other missions on the website that you'll be able to play with the same triggers. So using them over and over again and getting new games, new activities every single week. So that makes it really awesome for the kids to get excited about these. So when you print them, they're going to have an Agent Beaver, an Agent Heron. And if you don't have a colored printer, we understand. You can use a screen, so you can pull it up on your computer and you play it on your computer. But just to get a better overall experience, printing them really helps those kids engage in that learning. And you're going to see a lot more learning going on outdoors, or just them wandering around the house and doing that. One of the things this week is you can look at all of these animals. Which ones are pollinators? So add activities like that. So once you do this, you're going to get activity guides. So you can continue the learning with our activity guides. So you can get the activity guide. And this week, because pollination is important, we talk about the things that you can make at home to help the pollinators in your own backyard. So giving them a place to hide, and then also giving them a watering station, because pollinators need water, just like you and I need water. They have to have water, and they also give them some sugar water to give them energy. So all kinds of fun things that you can do just from recyclable materials that you have at home. Get outdoors, have fun, and engage with those animals and those plants in your backyard. So once you complete the mission, you're going to get rewards. We all love rewards, don't we? So you're going to get 2 different rewards. One is you're going to get a badge, and you're going to be able to say that you earn the Agent B badge. Then, if you love Snapchat and you love AR filters to be able to share with your friends, we've got a really cool filter for you this week. So you're going to get to be an Agent B. So you can share that with your friends on your Snapchat. So make sure you enjoy that. That's a lot of fun. Kids love that type of activity, and collecting those badges, and see how many badges you can get. So once you've finished this mission, if you look down below, we have a couple other missions that you can still do. We have our endangered species, amazing adaptation, and we have turtles and a fishing mission. And then we also have some partner missions available. Two of those from the U.S. Forest Service. So Smokey the Bear, learning about the importance of protecting our environment from forest fires, and then also the Earth Day mission. So lots of fun activities to do as part of mission conservation. Overall goal is to engage kids at home where you are right now in learning that gets you active and learning about conservation, because we want you all to be the conservationists as we start to get out into our natural environments. We start to head out to our parks, our National Park Service land, and our U.S. Forest Service land. Well, remember, in the beginning, I told you that we were celebrating Pollinator Week, and I have an amazing special guest. I'm so excited to be introducing Chat Edwards. He is an education specialist for the U.S. Department of Agriculture Forest Service. He has a degree with the Rehabilitation Services for over 20 years of educational experience. He is an amazing character, and I am so excited to have him. I've been working with Chat for quite a while, and he's great to work with. And he has a pollinator garden, and we're going to hear directly from Chat. Go ahead, Chat.
Thank you, Misty, and hey, everybody at home. I'm so glad that you are able to stay home and stay safe, and that you can come out here and enjoy this beautiful scene where I am right now. Let me just take a deep breath and let you know how awesome it is. I'm sitting under a white oak tree. This oak tree is really, really old, and it was actually at one time standing here to honor Martin Luther King Jr. So there's a little bit of history with this tree. As you walk into a very special place called the USDA People's Garden. I'm going to show you that garden in a moment, but because I do work for the USDA Forest Service, I wanted to just take a moment and just say thanks to this bit of urban forestry here. This tree is actually acting as my weather guide for the day. Fun fact about white oak trees: before it rains, about 30 minutes before it rains, they'll flip their leaves and turn them almost upside down whenever the wind blows. When the wind blows, they'll turn. You can see that the tree's almost white. So I'll be watching that because it has been raining in the past couple of days. And if I see that thing start to turn colors, I'll probably go look somewhere else. But we're in the USDA Forest Service, Department of Agriculture's People's Garden. This, I'm going to turn the camera around so you can kind of get an idea of where we are. This garden was planted. It's right in the middle of the city. Check it out. There's a city street and people biking and enjoying themselves, right? This is the National Mall. If you look that away, the Washington Monument's down there. You can't see it because there's some trees in the way. If you go that way, that's where all of the other Smithsonian museums are. And then right smack dab in the middle of all of it is the People's Garden. And this was planted so that it could be a demonstration garden so you can see what actually is grown and can be grown in this area. So this is all about pollinators, but I'm going to tie it to food. All right. So that's our sneak preview. And I'm going to quickly run back to the spot that I was starting in, where I was sitting. Before we walk up, I picked this spot in honor of some pollinator friends of mine. This, my friends, is milkweed. There's a little patch of milkweed so that any monarch butterflies coming into this area will have a place to lay their eggs and let their babies eat that along that nice journey, that migration they're making pretty soon, actually. So here at the beginning of Pollinator Week, I want to start off by petting my pet milkweed. Yay. Yay, it doesn't bite. It's fine. You can say hi. Okay, so back to agriculture and food. What do food and pollinators have to do with each other? A lot. About every, out of every 3 bites of food that you eat, one of those is owed specifically to a pollinator. One every 3 bits of food you eat, a pollinator was responsible for. So here, I'm sorry, let me flip this camera back around so you can look at my face. Let's take the tour. Here we walk up on the first set of garden beds and we come across corn. There's a little row of corn here just starting up. Nice, right? That corn is wind pollinated. So that is not one of the 3 that are due to pollinators. But if we step right next door to that corn, we see a small field of okra starting to pop up. I'm not sure how many of you had okra recently, but it's still just as delicious and crunchy as you can imagine when you pick it right out of the garden. Coming along, look at this, loads of kale. Look at that dinosaur kale popping up and beets, right? So all this is human food, right? I haven't seen any flowers yet. Oh, but look, we're in garlic, coming up on the garlic. And when garlic is mature, look at the top of that garlic. It's so beautiful. It's a big flower. It looks like the 4th of July came on top of that stalk right there of garlic growing. Kind of awesome. We have celery here. Yum, yum, yum. It likes to live in the cool, and that's why it's over here. And then perennials like asparagus. So that'll be here for years and years before we ever get to eat any of it. Giving you a little bit more of the tour. Now we're in the big piece of the garden. This is where the larger things come through, and we have nice signs. So if you're ever walking through, you can take the tour and read those signs, or hint, 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 you can play the USDA urban forest mission while you're walking around down here in the National Mall when you get the chance to come out and visit again. And it will help act as a host for you through this area as well. So lots of food, yum, 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 yum. What is this? Greens and cabbage and collards and birds flying all around. I don't think the birds, I don't think I'm gonna eat the birds, but they are keeping the insects off our garden. Thank you. Okay, almost done with our food. Well, actually, no, we're not almost done with the food part of the tour. There's so much here. Check it out. We've got lettuces. And then what are these weird flowers? I'll give you 3 seconds to guess at home. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, you got it. Those flowers are for pollinators, and they're also for potatoes. You are looking at potatoes, my friends. There is a flower on the top of that, and the insects are going to come and pollinate that puppy and help us to have nice, healthy bushels of potatoes under the ground there. We're not going to eat those flowers. We're not going to eat those greens. We're going to eat the roots under the bottom, but we still need that. Let's get a little bit closer to some flowers because I see growing here. Oh, check it out. Squash. And before that big squash comes to be a big squash, it starts off as a cute little flower. And yes, those are visited by pollinators all the time. You should see them full of pollinators. In fact, there's one hanging out under the leaf there, just taking a little break. How about that? Okay, so pollinators are important for our food. If we were to continue walking around these gardens, which I do encourage you to do, you'll see a big bushel of tomatoes over there and corn and beans. But right here in the center of the garden is one of my favorite things and one of your friends, the pollinators' favorite things. This is a pollinator garden. So we won't be eating any of this stuff, yet it's planted right beside our vegetables. We do that in order to keep our vegetables happy and healthy. These pollinators, many of them are beneficial insects that not only keep the food growing, but also keep away some other insects that we don't necessarily want here eating our food. When we come down and look through here, you'll see lots of different colors of flowers so that we can attract a variety of pollinators. In fact, you might see lots of bees if I can hold my camera still enough. You'll see there's lots of them in here. And they're doing their busy work of going through and nibbling from one flower to the next and moving that pollen. Every time they move from one flower to the next, they take it and help those flowers stay fertile. They're basically making the next generation of flowers possible for us. Just really quickly, if you're not familiar with these pretty little things here in the landscape, they are beautiful. They are fragrant, some of them. They are colorful. They are bringing insects galore. This bright one up top is a good friend of ours named Monarda, or bee balm is what it's often called. And you'll find it filled with lots of little bees. They're on to other things right now, except for these little itty bitty guys. They get to go in there, and sometimes you'll even see hummingbirds hanging out there. Pollinators galore. These also, I'm scaring some away. I don't mean to scare away the bees. Don't worry, buddy. Keep on doing your thing. Thank you for your magic, all right? I appreciate you. Okay, so here, little tiny bees. I see some ladybugs. There's all kinds of stuff going on in here. And believe it or not, this helps to keep our food system happy, healthy, and growing. That's what I really want you to remember. In this garden, there's all sorts of stuff. Let's look at this patch here really quickly, and we have some soft red wheat where they come and they harvest the tops of. But this is not pollinated by bees. This is wind pollinated. So this one is going to do fine even without our friends the bees coming around. But we make sure we mix our pollinators in throughout. So you folks at home, something that you can think about doing is keeping some plants around, keeping some flowers around. Sure, we humans think they're pretty, and that's wonderful. But the additional benefit of being able to, bring the beneficial insects with you is super healthy. They'll help keep all of your other plants healthy. And so down here, this is a pretty, I would say a very manicured area. And yet the forethought and how much we love our pollinators here right along this decorative strip here that just sort of defines the corner of where we are. If you come close, you'll see that this was actually planted for our pollinator friends, and it is just buzzing with them. Can you see? I'm going to stay still so you can see how many things are moving. I mean, bees galore. Okay, so you can think about bringing lots of different colors to your garden. Can you plant a border that is beautiful for your eyes and also a benefit to our pollinator friends? Yes, you can. It's very easy to do. You can use beneficial plants the same way you use all of your other purely ornamental plants. So here is the entire garden. And when you do come down here to play this mission, this is where you'll end up. And the mission actually runs all the way along this street where you get to experience some of the urban forestry along the way. You'll stop and learn a little bit about Smokey Bear and even end up at the Forest Service headquarters building where you can go into Smokey's office. And there are pollinator stops all along the way, including some culinary herb places where you can stop and go, I've seen this in the kitchen. That smells so nice. And it could also be full of bees because right now, what's flowering are I saw coriander. What's that also called? The cilantro. That's what we call it. The cilantro's flowering right now. And there are bees over there on those pretty white flowers. So this is your orientation.
Linda,
yes, Mary.
Linda is asking if anyone can grow a pollinator garden.
Anyone who can grow a pollinator garden. Yes, absolutely. What you can do is look for okay, here's the easiest thing to do. Grow some native plants to your area because those native plants are well suited to the environment, so they're going to be a little bit easier to grow for you. And they're going to be very well suited to feeding the pollinators that are there in your area. So yes, anyone can grow a pollinator garden. Where I started you from, those were sitting in small pots. Just in small pots, there were maybe 4 or 5 little, let's see, right there. Those little pots have pollinator friendly plants. And as long as it'll fit in a container, it can be in there. But then, like I said, here's a much larger pollinator garden that's just right along the edge. It's used as beauty. I'm not sure if you can see the pretty purples. It looks kind of brown in the screen. But yes, anyone can grow a pollinator garden. Think about native plants, native to your area, and then try biodiversity, including a mixture of different plants, because diversity is what keeps our systems happy and healthy. Thank you for that question. Mary, I can't see any more questions. Are there any that are there?
Yeah, Chet, we've got another question. So what exactly attracts a pollinator to a plant? What are they looking for?
Wow. Okay, so there's fragrance, there's color, and then there's the good old-fashioned training that their great-great-great-great-granny bee taught them. So Granny Bee has said, listen, this is what we're going to do. This is our job. We make sure that plants are happy and healthy. So they're looking for the smells, they're looking for the nectar that they can drink from the plants, and then oftentimes they're looking for bright colors. So that's a little hint for you. If you want to bring the pollinators to your area, think about bringing in those bright colors from around your area. Keep those plants healthily watered, because if the plant has lots of water in it, then it can make lots more nectar for the animals to come and drink, insects to come and drink.
Awesome, that's great. All right, so we have another question. So you've talked a lot about insects, and particularly bees, but what other animals serve as pollinators?
Interesting. So, you know, if I were to go to one flower, let's just pretend this is a flower. If I were to go to one flower, smell it, then I would go to another flower and smell it, then I could be considered a pollinator. But we don't typically think of humans as pollinators. Okay, so there are a number of flies and other flying insects that are pollinators, as well as some animals, bats, like fruit bats, things that are visiting from one flower and going to the next. It's even been argued that squirrels are pollinators. That's not common, but for that argument of if a squirrel goes from one flower to the next trying to sneak a little snack, then it would be considered one as well. But I typically think of the birds and the insects that you see moving from one to the next. So bees and small flies. And you'll notice that a lot of them have like a furry, fuzzy little coat on them that gets covered in pollen. And then that's what moves the pollen from one place to the next. So if you're in doubt of whether or not it's a pollinator, look at it. See if it's covered in the good flowery goodness.
That's great. That's great. So you talked about, so some animals actually eat pollen, but it's really not the animals that eat pollen that we're looking at. They're coming to get the pollen, but it's the pollen they collect on their bodies that they're carrying to the other flower, to the next flower. That's where it gets really important on pollinators.
Yes, you talk about pollen going from one flower to the next. Yeah, a lot of times the insect is going after the nectar of the plant. But yeah, that pollination, that pollen just sitting on its coat, on its beard, or on its shoulder hairs. That's really, yes, that's what makes the magic. Let's see if we can see. Let's see if we can come up and just examine a flower, if that's all right. So if we're looking at this flower here. Yeah, if we're looking at this flower. Okay, wait for it. So we're looking at the flower here. On the inside of the, oh, you can't see that. Where's my mic? Okay, so on the inside of this flower, there's little bits of pollen in there, and So as the insects come and get all the goodies that they want to get from drinking the nectar down on the inside, this plant attaches its yellow polleny goodness to that insect. And there's still some sitting inside the flower here. There's still some sitting inside of that flower here, yes. And once it gets on the coat or the jacket of that insect, that pollinator, When it moves from this flower to say this flower way over here, that, my friends, is when the pollination happens, because now there's pollen from flower over there to now it's on flower over here. And this will now start to form seeds. That's really the magic. So not them eating the pollen, but moving it. They are pollen movers, my friends.
That's excellent. Thank you very much, AmChat. It's really cool to see that you have a garden right there in the middle of DC that everybody can see, being the people's garden. That makes it really exciting to be able to show that and showcase all of that. So what other foods can we eat that are created by pollinators?
So out of this garden, I just want to share a fun fact. This food is, yes, it's all grown for demonstration so that you can see what's possible, but all of this food gets donated to needy folks. So people who don't have any food, hungry people. So last year, tomatoes, zucchini, yellow squash, cucumbers, green peppers, turnips, watermelon, eggplants, and butternut squash were all planted. And that was a total of 557 pounds that were harvested from a small area, and delivered to Sophia's Kitchen in Peoria, Illinois. So this food goes to a good cause, and 557 pounds came out of a small little space like this.
So it sounds like every single one of us can actually plant pollinator gardens in our house, whether we plant them in a pot or we plant a large garden. And if we have a vegetable garden in our house, it's very important for us to plant pollinators near that, just like AmChat talked about. AmChat, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been absolutely amazing to have you on. Being at the People's Garden, I've actually never been there before. What an amazing place. And next time you're there, make sure you check out the People's Garden mission on Agents of Discovery. But while you're still at home, you can be playing our missions at home, which include the Pollinator mission, Endangered Species, and also Smokey Bear, and our Earth Day mission with Woodsy the Owl. So we are leaving you for the day. So it is Pollinator Week, June 22nd through the 28th. One of the things beyond our pollination missions that we have is we have brought up the pollinator.org website, and you can find all types of activities that are going on in your area. So if you're interested in getting involved in planting a pollinator garden or just learning more facts about pollinators, check out this website. And if you slide to the very bottom of the website, you're going to find facts, and you're going to find activity and fun things that you can do with kids, and even some recipes that you can make that were created from pollinators that were moving their pollen from one flower to the next. So make sure, download Agents of Discovery, pull up Mission Conservation website, and then play the missions. Have a great time. Get your kids outdoors. We may be inside due to COVID and the pandemic, but make sure you're out in your courtyard, anywhere you can be. Get your kids up and get them active. Make sure you join us next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about marine life, and we're going to be headed back, and we're going to get a mission from the Cook Islands again. So I'm excited to have them involved. Thank you very much.